Hi, this is James, and I'm here with the Oracle Outlook for the week starting September the 18th, 2017. This week I wanted to work with Kipper cards, so the deck that's going to be assisting me for this week's reading is the Fin de Siècle Kipper cards. They are by Ciro Marchetti, and they are published by US Game Systems Incorporated. So I have the deck on hand. We're going to jump right into the reading this week. And I'm going to take a few moments to shuffle the cards, and as I shuffle the cards, I'm focusing on my basic intention and question for these weekly readings, and that is, what do we need to know for the week ahead? So now I'm going to take a moment and cut the cards. And we're going to fan them out. And I'm going to be picking 5 cards because when I work with Kipper cards, I do a line of 5. So I'm just looking for the cards that get my attention in the fan. We have the 5 cards selected, so now I'm putting the remainder of the deck to one side. So I have the 5 cards face down in front of me, and as I always do when I work with a line of 5, I always look to the middle card first. The middle card for me always represents what the central issue might be for the week ahead, or something that we're being asked to focus on. So the card we have here is marriage card. So this is a card when I use this deck that comes up quite often. So marriage is a card that can represent a contract, it can represent an agreement, it can represent a relationship, and one where we're being asked to take a good look at the level of commitment that we're made. Marriage is a serious commitment, right? So it's about taking a good look at the commitments that we're making this week. So now this could be like the central issue, the focus could be somebody is literally getting married. There is that, because I tend to read the cards from a very literal aspect. If it's not that, then it could be taking a look at the things that we are committed to, or the things that we agree to in the course of this week. And again, because it's marriage, it's about like, what is the level of commitment that we're willing to make? What's this? Because this card carries with it the seriousness of that commitment. So what's the level of commitment? How serious are you about the commitments and the agreements that you're making this week? So there's that. So that is the middle card. So what I do then is I tend to look at the surrounding cards, because they're going to inform us more about this idea of either a marriage, a commitment, an engagement, or an agreement, something of that nature. But what more do we need to know about that? So taking a look at the surrounding cards, we have high honor, and then between high honor and marriage, we have bad health. I had a feeling this card was going to show up, so we'll talk about that in a moment. And then on the other side, we have, this is interesting, we have imprisonment, and then ending the line, we have mature female. Okay, this is very interesting. All right, so going to the cards that are immediately flanking marriage, starting on the left, we have bad health. So bad health is a card that can represent a couple of things. Because I saw this card as I was actually setting up the room to do the reading, this card came to my mind. So when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about it in 2 ways. Number one, this card can come up when we are being asked to take a break from something, because this card can represent, a break, and it usually can represent like a forced break kind of idea. The idea of like something has happened that requires us to take a break. That's a much nicer, gentler way of being forced to take a break, right? Something has happened where you're now being asked to take a break, take a timeout, that kind of thing. The other aspect of the card that came to me as I was setting the room up is this idea of recovery, right? So this card isn't about rest, but it can also be about, if I can get the words out, be about rest, recovery, and recuperation, right? And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about the people who have been going through the challenges in the wake of Hurricane Harvey and now Hurricane Irma. This idea of like now they've been in this situation, and now they have to, start the process of recovering from it. So there's that. So for some people watching this video, it could be needing to take a break, needing to rest, and going with the marriage card. Remember now, marriage card is about the things that we are either committing to or agreeing to this week, right? So it's about committing to or agreeing to getting some rest, taking some time out, taking a break, right? So there's that. And then the other idea here about committing to, your recovery process, your recuperation process, whatever that is, it could be too, if we go with the idea that marriage is an agreement between two parties, then it could be you and another person making an agreement, or making a commitment on, recovery, healing something. This card can be about healing, because I also saw the tree from Lenormand with this card. So it could be somebody's actually doing some actual healing, physical healing, but it could also just be about healing some sort of rift, some sort of bond, some sort of relationship, right, with the marriage. And it's about willing to make that agreement, really to be seriously committed to that healing process, if it's something that is about, between two people, because I'm seeing that idea about like healing a rift or healing a bond or something of that nature. And it could have been like you took a time out, because the way the order of the cards is, bad health comes before marriage, so maybe you took a time out and now it's time to either engage or re-engage, and being serious about it because you realize the importance of the commitment. So that's bad health on the one side. And here's the interesting thing. On the other side, we have imprisonment. So imprisonment is a card that can represent, limitation or restriction. We go with the idea somebody's behind bars. They're in a limited, restricted kind of space. There's only so much they can do, kind of thing, and there's only so much space in terms of like where they can go. It's like, in some level, it's like being on lock or being on lockdown, right? So there is that sense of limitation and restriction. This card can also come up when we're talking about a block. So somebody may be wanting to work on a block that involves a relationship, that involves a commitment, that involves an agreement. Here's the thing about this. It could be saying too, like the more you are aware about the commitment process, about the agreement, that kind of thing, then this card is saying too, like you want to be aware because you don't want to get trapped, or you don't want to find yourself in a situation in which you can't get out of very easily. It's making me feel like the idea about the devil being in the details, whatever agreement, especially if it's a contract, like an actual physical document, right? You don't want to get trapped into something that you can't see your way out of. It's making me feel like you want to be aware of the details, the terms of the agreement, are there any kind of loopholes you need to be aware of, things like that. It's making me feel like that's where we're at. So for some people, now, if somebody is actually contemplating getting married or, moving into a more serious aspect or serious nature of your relationship, then this card is about maybe working through your fears of commitment, right? The idea of like, oh, I'm not that serious about this commitment because there's an underlying fear about getting trapped or getting stuck. It makes me think of like somebody's really being called to look at their commitment phobia. So that's imprisonment. Now, going to the next cards out, we have High Honor. High Honor is a card that can represent something being recognized. Usually this comes up in the term of career, like career advancement, you're getting a promotion, some sort of elevation in status, right? I'm going to go with the idea of sticking with the word recognition, like maybe this experience is getting you to recognize something that maybe you have not been willing to recognize before. That's what it's making me feel. I feel like with High Honor, it's making me feel like it's an elevated kind of awareness, that kind of thing. So I'm seeing that kind of energy with High Honor. Now here with High Honor and Bad Health, because Bad Health is the card that's closest to High Honor, then this card could be about recognizing that it's time for a break, recognizing it's time for a pause, recognizing that maybe it's time to recover from a situation, right? I'm looking at Bad Health, and the idea here is coming to me, it's like understanding like the idea of making your bed and lying in it. If you want a situation to change, what would you be willing to change to help that process? But this card for me, as the first card in the line, it's making me feel like this is the time for something to be recognized. And then on the other end, and this is very interesting because we have mature female. So now, This is the only person card in the line this week. Mature female can represent someone who's older than us, who's a woman. So if you're watching this video, it could be a mother, could be a grandmother, could be an aunt or great aunt, you know, a woman who has some level of maturity, right? So it could be, and she's facing the rest of the line. So this could be something that she's actually facing as time goes on or as time progresses. Now she's nearest the imprisonment card. So imprisonment, again, is the idea about limitation, restriction, you know, kind of being on lockdown. So it could be a woman who's facing that kind of thing. So it could be, you know, a literal form of restriction, you know, or limitation, or maybe the more metaphorical type of that. But it's also, too, like the commitment or agreement could be involving her, you know, that kind of energy, because she's facing the rest of the cards, and marriage is the next card beyond imprisonment. So it could be maybe she's looking at, you know, commitments or engagements or things that she's going to be embarking on, but she's got that block in between, you know, and it could be just moving beyond that. So, but again, this could be someone who is on the other end, on the receiving end of this agreement, this contract. She could be one of the parties involved, that kind of thing. So let's take a look at the cards and sum up and see if any other ideas come to me. So first card in the line is high honor. So high honor for me can represent something being recognized. We're achieving something. We may be awarded something. I'm feeling like whatever the case may be this week, it's about high time that we recognize some aspect. It's about something in our lives that's being called to get our attention. Like we're being asked to pay attention to this, to focus on this, to recognize this. Bad health being the next card is about, you know, either taking a break, getting some rest, or a recovery process or recuperation process. Marriage, next card, is all about focusing on agreements, focusing on commitments, you know, and how serious are we, how committed are we in those commitments and agreements, or that somebody is actually in the process of getting married. Or it could be like somebody's taking a really good look at their marriage, right? And maybe the health of the marriage. Going with that too, imprisonment, going further, could be saying too, like one of the parties could be feeling a sense of being trapped, being stuck, feeling a sense of limitation or restriction. You know, if somebody is contemplating making any commitment or agreement or embarking on, like looking at a contract, and that could be a literal physical document contract, then it's about like being aware of the terms of the agreement, the commitment, the contract, know full well before going in, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation that you can't find your way out of again. And then the last card is mature female. Mature female could be an older woman, a mature woman, a woman who has some wisdom gained through experience, who either may be helpful or she may be a person who's directly involved. She may be one of the parties in this commitment, this agreement, this contract. So on that note, I will end this week's Oracle Outlook. I'm Jameson Mitchell, and as I close, I'd like to thank you for sharing space here with me for this week's reading, and I look forward to sharing the same space with you again in our next video reading together. So until then, I'm hoping that you have a wonderful day, and I'm hoping that you have a wonderful week. Take care.